When it comes to the TV show CHiPs and its two stars, Larry Wilcox and Erik Estrada, there have been lots of stories about these two regarding whether they got along or not, and if any of that led to Larry famously exiting the show before its final season. Fortunately, enough time has passed that we can look back and really get a better understanding about all of those stories. But first, let's take a quick trip down memory lane.
Thursday night, the circus comes to town, and the CHiPs encounter a large problem.
Who is Effie?
While an old classmate of John's turns highway robber and becomes a menace to rush hour commuters.
Come back here! Come back!
CHiPs, Thursday at 8, 7 Central and Mountain Time, right before James at 15 on NBC.
You know, I really love CHiPs. The program ran for 6 seasons on NBC. From 1977 to 1983, the California highways were just a little bit safer because of this show, and I wouldn't be surprised to find out that this show may have inspired many young kids to, later on, join the ranks of the CHP. And these two fellers were both great stars in my book. Yep, even though Erik Estrada seemed to get more coverage in terms of magazine covers and that kind of stuff, I always felt like Larry was every bit Erik's equal. After all, he was the first actor hired for the show. You know, they were both very, very good on CHiPs, which was extremely popular with both adults and kids during the show's run. So popular, in fact, that there was a ton of merchandise associated with this show. So along with the obligatory article about them in Dynamite magazine, there were books, board games, action figures, and even an emergency medical kit. During the late 70s, it seemed like Larry and Erik's faces were everywhere.
Roaring down the highway, danger in every trip, action is their middle name. You can make your own adventures, these troopers come equipped with helmet, holster, toy gun, and billy club, that's CHiPs. You can pretend that Jon is serious in this partnership, and Ponch is out to have some fun, there's lots to do with CHiPs. You can pose them any way you want or take them on your trips, it's CHiPs.
CHiPs. Ponch and Jon, each sold separately, all accessories included, by Mego.
And along with all of that fame, I guess it is fair to say that egos came into play. Both of the actors were young, and as a result, there were moments that I bet if you were to ask them today, they would say that they wish they could take a few of them back. This 1980 article in People magazine really does a good job of describing how Larry was feeling about things at the time. Neither of them had invited the other to their recent weddings, and Larry was pretty darn blunt when he said, "There's no point going around telling people Erik is my best chum, because he's not, and he never will be." At some point later during the show's run, Erik left it briefly over a contract dispute. Caitlyn Jenner took his place for that short period of time while he was gone, and then when Erik returned, Larry left the show for good. So, if you didn't read magazines like People, this is probably how you found out that Larry had departed from the show. It turns out that the new guy, and then another one that replaced him, just couldn't make us forget about Larry, and because of that, as well as the fact that the show had just kind of ran out of steam idea-wise, the 6th season would be the last one for CHiPs. By the time the 1999 TV reunion movie rolled around, it seemed like whatever issues that had existed between the two actors were resolved enough for the two of them to both headline that show. And it truly was a joy to see the two of them back together again. Word on the street was they were getting along famously.
The highways are wild, but they rule the road. Suit up for patrol when Ponch and Jon ride again in a world premiere movie reunion. Burn rubber with Erik Estrada and Larry Wilcox in CHiPs 99. Next, only on TNT.
So here's the truth about the relationship between Larry and Erik. No, they weren't always the best of friends. But for most of the time during the show's original run, they were friendly with each other. They worked hard to be friendly with each other. They were friendly the same way that coworkers are friendly. It's important for us to remember that the things that we saw on screen had no bearing on the two of them in real life. They were actors and work colleagues who did their job very well. More than 15 years after the two of them parted ways, they had this great opportunity to get back together again for a one-time project, and again, they were friendly with each other. But then I believe they went their separate ways, the same way that we all do with many of our coworkers. Still, every once in a while, because they are Larry and Erik, they do find an opportunity to get back together. There's a video right here on YouTube where Larry talks about their relationship now. I'll post a link to it in the description section. In that video, Larry explains that they were both young, and they were very different people back when they worked together on CHiPs. He talks about egos, and it's also clear from that video that Erik still enjoys having a bit of fun with Larry. And it's also clear that Larry is very proud of Erik. Why? You see in that video, Larry mentions that Erik has become a real-life police officer. How cool is that? It's clear that Larry has a ton of respect for Erik's decision to do that. And you know what? So do I. End of the day, the truth about these two is nothing shocking. Unlike the characters they played on CHiPs, they just didn't have any sort of deep connection. And I am not going to fault them for that. To this day, they're friendly with each other, perhaps more friendly than they've ever been because of their shared history. And that, ladies and gentlemen, has to be enough. Wait, let me rephrase that. It must be enough. Alright, now it's your turn. Please share your memories in the comments section, and if you like this video, I'd appreciate a thumbs up. Maybe even share it on Facebook or Twitter. And what the heck? Why not consider subscribing to the channel? I talk about music, movies, and mostly TV from the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. You know, the good stuff. But most importantly, and as always, thank you so much for watching.